Hello and welcome to Weird Around Illinois. You may recall a few years back, we visited a hotel in Galena, Illinois called the Desoto House. And we had a weird occurrence there, and we always said, we need to go back. So we did. Let's get weird. All right, so a little bit about the Desoto House. It's been a fixture in Galena for a long time. They actually have a room in the Desoto House dedicated to its own history, where they show movies about, how it was built and when it was built and what it was used for during the Civil War and how the land changed around it. It's really a fascinating building.
It truly just does not stop. It's just on 24/7, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true. We've spent far too much time in that room.
Yeah.
But in addition to being a very historic hotel, it's also a very haunted hotel. It's like the center of just about every ghost walk tour in Galena, and there are a few. And anybody who works there seems to have a story about something happening in the hotel. Probably the most famous story is about the Lady in Black. And she is supposedly the widow of a man who died in the Civil War. And I believe her sons also died in the Civil War, or one of her sons died in the Civil War. And she has haunted that building because that was used as like a temporary mortuary for people killed in a nearby battle in the basement there. So they see her both in this building, and they sometimes claim to see her in neighboring buildings, but the main spot they see her in here, she always seems to return to this hole in the wall downstairs. They also see her on other floors and on staircases and things like that, but the main thing is that hole in the wall seems to be like her home base. And they've even framed the hole in the wall and encased it in plexiglass so people can look at it. So in addition to the Lady in Black, they've got some other kind of weird hauntings and poltergeisty kind of things going on. They've got noises all over the place at all hours of the night. That's what we heard the first time we were there. We heard a ghost whistle, and we were almost ready to write it off, but then the person we interviewed there, one of the people we interviewed there, actually said that the whistle is a fairly common thing, and it's they also hear it as part of children playing and things like that happen, after hours there. The other thing that seems to come up from time to time is people moving stuff around in rooms, particularly on the third floor. And there's even this weird thing where people feel a presence sit on the bed next to them, on the beds on the third floor. So lucky us, we got rooms on the third floor.
Yeah, something that we did not get to do last time we were in Galena. We actually decided to stay the night there.
Mm-hmm. Now, we kind of did this in reverse because we actually did our investigation in the rooms, which we'll talk about later, before we had a chance to talk to the staff again. So we're going to kind of flip that, and we're going to tell you some of the evidence and things and stories we gathered from the staff that occurred in the building, even though we didn't have this information when we did our initial investigation.
Yeah. So first of all, it was like a room where there were candles, and supposedly people have seen the candles turn on by themselves.
And these are electronic candles, right?
Yeah, electronic candles.
Now we might have even witnessed that ourselves once, because when the guy showed it to us, and the guy who showed it to us, I should mention, he not only works at the Desoto House, he's part of the family that owns it. So he gave us a lot of stories, and he gave us a lot of access, and we were really, really hoping to have him as a guest on our podcast soon. He had agreed to it in principle. We just need to make our schedules line up, and he will be able to give you much more detail on all these things that we're talking about. But he was the one who said that when he was setting up for events, the candles would be off. He'd leave the room, and when he comes back in, the candles are on, or a candle is on. And he said it could be other staff members messing with him, but number one, he doesn't think they'd do that, and number two, he never saw any other staff around.
Yeah. It's crazy. And when we were there, he was showing us probably the exact candles that he was referring to in the room. Mm-hmm. And we stuck around a little bit longer after he left and just kind of hung around. And yeah, one of them turned off apparently. You saw it, and we were in different rooms, but
yeah,
very weird.
Yeah, it was definitely weird.
Yeah. And also people have apparently found that like storage rooms have been trashed or other rooms.
Yeah, and this was from multiple staff members. We were talking to bartenders and servers and waitresses, and this other staff member we were talking about, and they all shared the story. There were a couple of them who were there. They tidied up this room, they cleaned it up, they walked out for 5 minutes, they came back in, and it was completely trashed. Like, to the level that a person couldn't have actually done in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And something else that was mentioned, actually by the same person who was talking about the candles, like he literally saw glasses at the bar that was in the basement get like dragged across the room, right?
Yeah, thrown across the room, dragged across the bar. And that's actually a story we had heard the first time we were at Desoto House years ago.
Yeah.
So it was nice to hear it corroborated from another source.
He was the guy who witnessed it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was very, that confirmed it for sure.
Yeah.
And of course, people have seen like other things moving as well, like chairs and like furniture.
Yeah, and that's there are guests who have complained about like stuff being moved in their rooms. You know, like not anything taken, but just, you know, they know they left their bag in the bathroom and they find it like on the bed when they come back, and they ask, you know, has staff been in there? And they're like, no, nobody's been in your room all day. Again, that's a third floor thing.
Yeah.
While we were talking to the staff, one of the staff members was kind enough to show us a picture that she took of the lady in black as she was apparently returning to that hole in the wall. And it was a very spooky picture. You could definitely see it was like a shadow figure, but the shape of the shadow figure was like the lady in black.
Yeah, I got a glimpse of it. That was something else for sure.
Yeah. I'm hoping maybe we can obtain a copy of that for our podcast when we speak to the gentleman. I'm sure he probably has one.
Yeah, we'll have to ask.
Yeah. It was all kind of rushed when we were talking to them before. It was like right in the middle of a service they were doing, so I didn't quite feel comfortable. Hey, can I borrow your cell phone for like 5 minutes? I gotta copy this picture.
Yeah, we were literally just like the story of how we heard that's, you know, how we saw the picture and heard a couple more stories was like we were just sitting around in the basement, probably just waiting for some other plan, and they just so happened to be there. So you started talking to them and just led to those stories. So
yeah, as a matter of fact, I believe we had our appointment with Cucina Bella in like 20 minutes.
That was it.
And we were trying to kill time before we walked down the street to Cucina Bella, so we were just hanging out downstairs, and I saw all these people gathered around, so I was like, hey, one of these people had to see something, and little did I realize they all saw something.
Yeah.
We were almost late to Cucina Bella because of this. That was the picture was really something. And the other thing I should mention, I had that Kaiwitz EMF detector with me basically everywhere we went on this trip, and there were some areas of weirdness in the Desoto House.
Yeah, supposedly you saw spikes in both rooms on that third floor.
Yeah. In my room, just outside the bathroom, there was like one spot where randomly it would jump into the red, and it happened several times. I want to say there was something else weird that happened in that spot, but I can't remember what it was. I wish we had our fourth member here. She would know. But
well, I know at one point we were like trying to talk to like the person that was in the image. I don't remember if anything happened then, but it was eerie.
Yeah. I had several spikes, as we'll talk about in the investigation in your room, and we also had some spikes down around the hole in the wall in the basement. Again, it went into the red as I was walking around like the back side of it. And then it just went away. I mean, if it went in the red and stayed in the red, I'd say, okay, there's probably like a Wi-Fi thing here or something. But those sudden spikes that then go to nothing always kind of creep me out.
And in one of those rooms also, we have like two radios. One of those radios was making like random sound.
Yeah, that was like even before our main, when we all got together and investigated, that just randomly we had it on to communicate because we had all these different plans and we wanted to keep on track. It just randomly started making the in a certain I guess BPM.
Yeah. That was, we had it happen again during the actual investigation,
Yeah,
which I was
talk about that
glad
later.
because then we got it on recording as well.
Yeah. For the first one, I did get on recording as well, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, and these are just standard two-way radios. Yes, it's possible it's picking up a transmission from somewhere else, but it was a very odd transmission. If that was what was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I work with two-way radios all the time, and I never have them make sounds like that. It was very odd.
Interesting.
The other thing I should probably mention is the weird thermal hits I was getting in the basement. I also had the Kaiweets thermal imaging camera with me, and there were like hot spots in really strange places and cold spots in really strange places.
Yeah, I remember
yeah.
you showing me like one sort of corner that like almost had the impression of a humanoid shape.
Yeah,
Like, it was pretty vague, but I mean I could see it still.
and it was cold. It was
Yeah.
like a cold, like a dark, cold spot, almost in the shape of a person. And as I kept the camera on it, it seemed to like morph and change, and then it's almost like the coldness bled into the cracks at the bottom of the floor. It was really weird.
And I've gone any farther down. I mean, it was in the basement.
Yeah, yeah. It was definitely odd. But we did, before most of the stuff we talked about, we decided to do an actual investigation in one of our rooms on the third floor. And we went about this in as organized a manner as we could. I mean, we spread ourselves out around the room. We set up the triggering device in one part, the REM pod. You set up the little balls, the cat ball things.
Yeah.
Which also light up. We had the EMF detector going. We had the spirit box going.
Yeah, we had as much of a good setup as you could get. Well, the three of us were actually pretty like spread out for sure as well. We were in three different places. I had the camera going. Did you have a thermal?
I did. I didn't use it the whole time, but I took it out a few times. Never really got anything interesting on it.
Yeah, but hopefully you could get a sight of what our setup was there. There were a lot of opportunities for there to be some results.
Yeah.
And results we did get to a degree. So we were there for about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
How long that took. The first 10 minutes roughly, I feel like we didn't get too much.
All right, let's start by asking, has Horace Greeley ever stayed in this room? Is there anyone here at all? You are. That little ball in the hallway, if you just reach out and touch it, it'll light up and show us that you're here with us. We can hear you, but we need you to show us that you can touch our reality, that you're in this room with us. So just reach out and touch that little plastic ball in the hallway. We're just here to talk with you. Go ahead and reach out and touch the ball. It shouldn't take too much energy for you. Just touch it and push it a little bit. You can even take energy from one of these devices if you want to. You can use that energy to push it.
Which just proves what I've been saying all along, which is that we don't spend enough time to get results.
Yeah.
And, that you kind of have to let things settle for a few minutes before you can really start to see things and hear things. And that's what happened here.
Yeah. After 10 minutes, we asked countless questions. We're probably gonna play a few clips of this stuff, but after a while, one question, I can't remember which it was probably something around the basis of trying to get the cat ball to light up. And luckily, however it happened, the cat ball did light up and move slightly.
Yeah.
So that was definitely something.
If it was you who activated the radio, could you do it again?
Well, the radio is on, so if you can do that again, feel free to.
The radio's still on.
Same channel.
Oh. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's what we were hoping for.
Do you appreciate that? Was that you?
That was you, right?
Who's in this room with us?
Are you a man or a woman?
What did that signal towards?
And that was almost like the announcement that it was on.
Yeah. It kept going from there.
Yeah.
It was a cat ball went off, it may have gone again, and then you were starting to hear a couple things from the spear box. Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, stuff that was really clear and easy to understand, but it was answers. I would ask a question and we'd get a clear burst of something as an answer.
Yeah.
And before all that, we did actually briefly hear the number 63. We were wondering where that was from.
I think it was 30. Wasn't it 36?
No, 63.
63. Okay.
Okay. Did you say 6'3"?
Mm-hmm.
What is the relevance of 6'3"?
Did you hear that question? What is the relevance of 6'3"? What do those numbers mean to you? Is there a reason that you're not pushing that ball like we asked you to? Could you please just push the ball a little bit? Is there anything else you can do to show us that you're here and that you're real?
Yeah, and we, at one point, your radio started going off again.
Yep, that was the next step.
Yeah.
That started going off like it's all. Think of it all being simultaneous yet too. You
Yeah.
imagine hearing a couple, and then like I don't know some random word. I heard lying when I was actually listening to like the first word that I heard and listening to the audio of this.
Try changing bands here.
Okay.
Alright, is it easier for you to talk on this band?
If yes, light up the cat ball. If no, don't.
Do you want us to go back to the other band? If yes, light up the cat ball again. See, that sounded like you want to talk on this band. Is that right? Okay. We hear you, but we don't understand you. What are you trying to tell us? You want us to do something for you? Can we help you in any way? I'm going to turn the other radio down just a bit so that I can hear you. Sorry.
You can still hear the radio if that's your way of communication.
We're hearing you. Are you trying to get us to stop communicating with you?
If you would not like us to communicate with you in any way, forward on. If you are able to stop the radio frequency, that would be a perfect signal to tell us to stop communicating altogether.
So stop touching the two-way radio if you want us to stop trying to talk to you. If you want us to continue to talk to you, go ahead and say something or light up the cat ball. Alright, we're going to keep talking now. Alright, we'll try one more time. What is your name? Are you just messing with us?
Has this been fun for you?
You miss talking to people? Are we some of the only people who talk to you here?
Lying. And then radio later on. And then the cat ball kept going off. And eventually it just led to where you asked a question that it was along the basis of, you were trying to understand what was doing that. Like, was it a ghost, was it a spirit, or was it somebody astral projecting?
So you're not actually a ghost. You're a projection. You're someone who's sleeping right now and projecting yourself into this room, aren't you?
If you are, you can turn the cat ball one more time. Second time.
It's your dream. You can do what you want. Why don't you reach over and turn the cat ball on?
That's true.
Thank you. That's
Okay.
very interesting.
Well, yeah. Fascinating. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about yourself?
Who are you when you're awake? What do you do when you're awake? What's your occupation? We're in a hotel room in Galena, Illinois. Is that where you are in your dream? Did you come here on purpose, or did you just end up here in your dream? Are you astrally projecting yourself to this room? Or did you just wander here in the dream state? Yeah, I guess we'll let you get on with your dreams.
If there's anything else you'd like to tell us right now, feel free to. We'll be in this room later as well.
We'll probably leave a device or two on in case you need to talk to us. But we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, because in an earlier answer, I had heard the word dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked, are you dreaming now? Do you think you're dreaming now? And it never really gave me a clear answer on that. And then later I asked the question you're talking about, are you a ghost? Are you a spirit? Are you astrally projecting right now?
Yeah, and literally maybe 1 or 2 seconds after you asked that, the cat ball lit up.
Yeah.
And I mean, it lit up, I think, multiple times after that, with maybe a couple follow-up questions.
Yeah.
And it just it seemed like it was really answering the questions quickly and accurately.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I think it is pretty accurate is because later on, after this investigation, we kept those cat balls and the
REM pod?
REM pod all on overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So we were sleeping. There was no movement whatsoever, and just overnight it never went off again. Even if if you want to follow the theory that I was thinking at the time, people were walking by down the hallway every once in a while.
Yeah, and it could have
Maybe.
jostled one of them or something.
Yeah, I was willing to accept that if it just kept going off overnight, but it didn't. And I'm sure a couple people walked by it overnight, but it just didn't ever.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that happened, probably the most disconcerting one to me, based on the things that are reported on the 3rd floor, there was one moment where you asked me, "Did you just kick the bed?"
Yeah, that was right near the end. That one.
Because you were sitting on the bed, I was sitting on a chair maybe 4 or 5 feet away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just sitting there crisscross applesauce, and right behind me, or no, I'm sorry, not right behind me, but right next to me was the picture frame of the original person who stayed in that room.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name.
I know, I was drawing a blank too. Was it Horace Greeley?
There's a chance. It'll be on screen for sure, because
Yeah.
I have that, no doubt.
Yeah.
But that was right next to me, which was a little bit eerie, and yeah, I was shook a little bit. It was very subtle. It's not like, I was shaking off the bed.
Are you happy here?
Did you just like move your foot a couple seconds ago?
What?
Did you just move your foot a couple seconds ago?
I don't think so. Did you?
No.
Okay, because this bed just shook.
I thought I heard something.
I thought I heard something too.
Yeah, that wasn't me. I didn't move. It just shook. My feet are crisscross applesauce right now, so... Was that you who shook the bed? Was that you trying to get attention to the frame of potentially you?
There's nothing sure in this world.
Did you enjoy listening to music?
So wait a minute. Are you dreaming right now?
But it seemed like there was a decent effort given. Yet right when that happened, I asked you, did you move your foot? Like, I thought, your left foot may have like stomped on the ground a little bit, and that could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
But you said you didn't, and I believe you that it probably didn't happen. So it's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, that was strange. Especially, like, as I said, because that's like one of the telltale signs on that floor. It's like if you feel something jostles the bed, or like something sits next to you or something like that, that's one of its main ways of communicating or making its presence known.
Yeah, and after that I started looking behind me again, because I was in like an open corner where there's somebody could have stood behind me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, that was probably the most productive ghost investigation we've ever had.
Yeah, so far. I hope that we'll have better ones in the future as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that does prove that our current strategy now will probably work in the future.
Yeah. And we finally got some good equipment.
yeah, we got some quality equipment.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, in the other room, I believe it was 306. What was the other one? Yeah, 306. We didn't get much, but we had a similar setup, or basically the same setup, just different places.
Yeah, we did. And there was nothing. Now,
Yeah.
we didn't take as long in there, but part of the reason we didn't take as long is because nothing ever happened. It's
Yeah.
like, I think we gave it the normal 10 minutes like we did in the other room, and nothing happened. So we're like, okay, well, we'll move on. Whereas,
But like it felt like almost an opera. It was just steadily going higher and higher and higher in different layers
yeah,
of what the heck was going on.
yeah, it was very, it was orchestrated. I mean,
Yeah.
saying it was like an opera, that's probably a good comparison, because it was like you have different acts, and you're definitely feeling the tension building as you move on.
Yeah.
Probably the only regret I have is that I felt like a lot of my questions were lame, and I have to work on that. Maybe when we go to Paranormal Chicago, I can ask some of the experts there on for a better list of questions.
You want to be like more aggressive with the questions?
Yeah, I just felt like I was asking some of the same things over and over again. Yeah, maybe, I mean, you have to do that to some extent because you don't always get an answer. But at the same time, I was afraid I was boring the ghost. I'm certainly going to bore the listeners when they listen to it.
Yeah, maybe. From my perspective, it wasn't as bad, but maybe if I listen back, it'll be like, so, you like the weather today?
Yeah,
Ghost?
exactly. How long you been here? Been here long?
Yeah.
Did you stay here?
Should be asking how many people were killed here.
Yeah.
Give me a number.
Right. 63. Oh no. Wait. So what are your thoughts overall on the Desoto House? Either our specific investigation or the place in general? I mean, does this strike you as a haunted location?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that room absolutely puzzled me for sure.
Yeah.
Initially, and the whole town was a ghost town.
Yeah, I agree. And I had the same feeling. I was like, okay, this solidifies for me that there's something in this hotel.
Yeah.
What was interesting is the fourth member of our team had the exact opposite reaction. He said, okay, I don't believe in ghosts anymore after we left. And I was like, why? And her point was, look, we spent hours wandering around the basement of the Desoto House where the lady in black was supposedly seen, and we saw nothing.
Yeah, that's because she really, really wanted to see the lady in black for some reason.
Yeah. Well, she figured she's a mother, and the lady in black was a mother, and she's a wife, and the lady in black was a wife. So maybe they'd have like this bond, and for whatever reason, it didn't happen. And I also think the reason she was more put off than we were by our lack of sighting the lady in black is she wasn't with us in the investigation of room 305. She heard our stories, but she didn't witness firsthand what we were witnessing in that room.
Well, she's gonna be listening to this, and then she's gonna watch the footage that we're gonna play on screen in between, and I'll disprove it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with all that in mind, do you think it's worthwhile to go back to Desoto House sometime?
We've got the opportunity. I don't see why not.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should. Just, I think taking longer in different spots than our rooms. And possibly using different investigation technique.
Yeah, you know what we should have done? I think we were thinking about it, but never quite got to it. Was going to the other separate room with all the chairs and the stand. It was like almost a meeting room. We should have set up there and stayed for a little bit, but we didn't quite get to it.
Yeah, we were gonna do that at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and our signals got crossed.
Yeah. And also staying up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
That one, didn't quite work out.
Yeah. Wouldn't you know? I mean, at least 2 of the 3 of us stay up till 3 a.m. just about every night. But this particular night we crashed.
Yeah. And then I was awake at 3:20.
Yeah. And I was awake at like 3:10.
Yeah.
I'm like checking the radio. I'm checking my phone. I'm like, hey, is he up? Is he up? Is he ready to go? And no, he must have gone to sleep. And then I went back to sleep.
That is so unfortunate.
Yeah. So the other next step, of course, is we're going to interview, hopefully, the guy who gave us a lot of this information. He's got more to tell, and he's really entertaining too, and a really nice guy. I think you're going to like him when we talk to him on air.
Got more places to go in the future, but that's for another episode.
Yeah, that wasn't even our last stop in Galena. I mean, we checked out a couple other places while we were there. So.
Yeah, not the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. But for now, that's our second trip to Desoto House. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And as always, we thank you for listening, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for sharing us with your friends.